January 2nd, 2018. Happy New Year to everybody, and I hope everyone watching this had a wonderful and safe holiday. My name is Bill McCamley. I'm a state representative from Las Cruces and Mesilla with your New Mexico legislative update for the day. Our legislative session starts on January 16th this year. It's a few weeks from today, and I wanted to let you know kind of what was the general topics of discussion that were going to come out. Now remember, this is a 30-day legislative session. So our Constitution only allows for basically three things to be discussed in a 30-day session. Number one, the budget. We've got to figure out taxes and spending for all the upcoming new year, and that includes schools and roads and social workers and all the other things we fund. We can do constitutional amendments, so big changes to the overall government, and we can do whatever the governor wants to put what is called on the call, and whatever she wants taken up topic-wise, we can do that. This is not a good process. A lot of times it takes twice as long to get things done because, for instance, if we wanted to talk about regulations for driverless cars or net neutrality, things like that, unless the governor puts it on the call for this session, we can't really deal with it. Now, will the governor put some different things on the call? We'll see, but we should probably move to a system where we can deal with every single thing every single year because a lot of things change pretty fast in the 21st century. The key issues for 2018, obviously the budget is a big deal. We're in better shape this year because oil and gas prices have gone up and we're producing record amounts of oil and natural gas. And since we rely so heavily on oil and natural gas for our budget, 30 to 35%, then the last few years with low oil prices have been really bad for us and we've had to cut. This year we do have some more money coming in, but probably one of the biggest discussions is going to be how much do we spend on things like teachers and social workers and cops and all those things that we spend money on and get those back up to the levels they need to be because we've cut so much for this over the last few years versus how much do we put into reserves. So a lot of times our bond rating, where we borrow money as a state, the credit rating for the state is related to how many dollars we have in our reserve accounts. And since we've had a few years of just no money coming in, we've gone through all those reserves. So there's a lot of people that want to build those back up, and that conflict of how much money do we spend versus how much money do we put in reserves is going to be a topic of discussion this year. The governor, as we talked about earlier, can put things on the call, which is she can choose what to talk about. She'll probably do a lot of these crime and punishment things. She's had this all crime all the time agenda for the past few years. I can't see that stopping. She knows that topic the best. It's what interests her. So you're probably looking at things like the death penalty, 3 strikes, you're outlaws. These probably don't have a real chance of passing as they're not really good public policy, but they sound good in sound bites. And as Albuquerque continues to have a pretty tough crime situation, that will probably come up again. Other things to deal with, at least that I know of, are state regulations for small cell mobile phone transmitters. Those have been a tough thing for a lot of the cell phone providers in different cities, and we need more of them because as more and more people watch things on phones, I'm recording this on a phone, and use the internet for that, we need more capacity there. And also PNM, the Public Service Company in New Mexico, which does electric service for most of the areas in the state and most of the people in the state, wants to do a big bond package to restructure the coal facility in Farmington that they've had to natural gas and solar. And I'll be going into that probably more as it comes up, but that's still trying to be worked out. Part of my job as the chair of the Labor and Economic Development Committee will be to focus on job creation things. So we're talking about things like tax cuts for apprenticeships, infrastructure funding, so like the Renewable Energy Transmission Authority to get more wind, to get capacity to transfer energy that is produced by, say, more wind on the east side of the state to everywhere else. Restructuring a public loan program for the film industry, which is one of the things that has done really well here in the state over the past 10 years, and changing tax policy so it works for everybody. So, for instance, there's going to be a proposal to take the giveaway for capital gains taxes for investment money, which hasn't really created any jobs, and most of it goes to the very, very high-end people in the state, and transfer that money to a thing called the Earned Income Tax Credit, which has been one of the most proven things to get poor people, especially young single mothers, out of poverty. And I'll be going over some more individual pieces of legislation that I'm working on over the next few days, but wanted to let you know kind of the general environment about what's going to happen at the legislature. And as always, I really appreciate you listening to this. And if you have questions, comments, or concerns on these or any of the other issues, I'd love to talk with you about them. Thanks so much, and hope everyone's having a wonderful start to their new year. Bye.